Number one, I want to mention or to give a brief of what we found when we went to Najin Agricultural University, that is of life science, where we met the researcher, the lead researcher on this fertilizer, Professor Cheng Kilon. Professor Chen Kilon, if you check on our YouTube, or check your YouTube, if you just go and check your YouTube, you will see the history and also the much science behind this. Kilon is not the pronounced as Chilon, but the spelling is Qiron. Then Shen. Shen is Shen. So it's Professor Shen Shilon. Shen Shilon, according to the Chinese. We went to two college or two branches of Nanjing University. The main campus, we had the research, but when we went to the other campus, because it have three campuses, that's when we found the research behind this fertilizer. I'm telling you, it's a long, long period of research that have brought us this far on this Nutri-Plant organic fertilizer. And I think will take quite long before we get of another one. We have an environment for a purpose of experiment. Probably later on, we'll be able to see pictures, but we were there, about 4 of us, and we represented those who are here. And I'm telling you, it is amazing to see the work behind this Nutri-Plant organic fertilizer so that it can reach us. There is an experiment being done on lice. There is an experiment that has been done on germinating of coffee and so many other, but the results are amazing. Every step is accompanied by scientific data. Every formulation is accompanied by scientific evidence. No wonder we have this particular product. Professor Chen Qiron has done this research for over 30 years so that he come up with this. He is also a scientist on soil microbiology, and therefore they used to school together with Professor Demingli in the same place several years ago. So it's a host of experiments, a place where a lot is done. And we are the beneficiary of somebody who spent a sleepless night and spent time to write papers to defend the findings. And now we have the Nutri-Plant organic fertilizer. Now, on our side now, it is raining. It's like back to school period when new parents and old parents are planning to take their children back to school or going to school. So this is the season for farmers. And the good thing, or one of the things that we need to be very careful about, is this is short lanes. They don't go far. So unless the farmers are properly advised on early application of the fertilizer, it may not benefit a lot. And therefore, that's why maybe later on, I'll try to explain the urgency of applying this fertilizer earliest possible, so that we can end up benefiting from what has been from this fertilizer. Well, they are also moving up and down, getting the fertilizer. Of course, we have enough rain at the moment. And those who don't have enough rains, probably you can supplement it with irrigation. But all the same, day in, day out, what the plant requires is simple material so that it can make its complex food. And probably when you are doing a little bit of our life science, that's biology, and when you are talking of photosynthesis, is a process of a plant using simple material so that it can make complex food material meant for a plant itself as well as the animals. So when you're talking of providing the plant with the right material, although they are simple, they will make complex food that will fit or that will be used by the plant itself and any other organisms that is not having chlorophyll, that's not having chlorophyll. Simple materials are things like carbon, which can easily be got from carbon dioxide, hydrogen, which can always be found in water when it is broken down, and also oxygen that is also found in printing. So these are quite simple that are found in the atmosphere. We may not worry so much because the rains, God has brought the rains, and where we have no rains, irrigation can be done. What should worry us most is the availability of other nutrients that the plant require, or simple material that the plant require for a purpose of making the food that will benefit the plant itself and also the animal. And mind you that the season or the period that this plant require for a purpose of growth and production, especially this season, it is limited. It's not lengthy. And therefore, the area we provide with these nutrients, the better. The area we do it, the better. And this one also, as we have mentioned in the past, categorized into three major categories: the nutrients that are required in large quantity, and that is why the farmer need to be encouraged to use the Nutri-Plant organic fertilizer, because they always put nitrogen fertilizer for a purpose of ensuring the plant has amino acids, and our fertilizer is an amino acid based. So mind you, the purpose of applying any nitrogen fertilizer is for the purpose of making sure that the plant is able to make its own amino acid. Remember, there are two stages when it comes to this preparation of amino acids. There is the organic compound, which we call the hydrocarbon compound, which is such as sugar, which in the process of photosynthesis and the fixation of amino group, so that it can be converted to amino acids. It will take long for the nitrogen to be converted to nitrate, so that it can be incorporated to form amino acids at chlorophyll level. Of course, the chlorophyll also forms the other material that can like carbohydrate. So provision of amino acid-based fertilizer will shorten this period of the normal granular nitrogen fertilizer being converted from the way we get it from the shop, from agro shop, to the time it will be available for plant use. It will take long, and remember the time is limited. How can I compare this granule fertilizer, which has nitrogen, and our fertilizer, which is amino-based, together with other nutrients that the plant require? It's like when you go to a supermarket and one person decides to buy cooked or ready cooked food. Maybe you wanted to buy beef, you wanted to buy cabbage, and also maybe chapati for a meal, and they find them ready in the supermarket. It's just a matter of picking, going and into your house, warm it, and consume within a very short time. Unlike a person who will go to the same supermarket, buy cabbage when it's not cooked, and also buy flour, maybe for making ugari or a chapati, and then again buy onion and other things, take them home for the purpose of cooking. In those two scenarios, whereby someone has bought ready-made food or ready-cooked food, and somebody who have bought the material so that he can go and prepare the meal. The time for consumption or feeding your family will differ. And this is what we are considering, especially when we are recommending Nutri-Plant organic fertilizer. Nutri-Plant organic fertilizer has nutrients, amino acid, and other nutrients that are ready to use. In meaning, immediately you apply it on your plant. Then within hours, the plant has already started using it. But if it is granular fertilizer where you buy, it has to go into the soil, go into solution, converted to nitrogen, nitrate, then nitrite, then converted, taken in solution form to the leaf canopy, and then combined, and it takes a lot of time. And therefore, that's why our fertilizer has very good result within a very short time. So this is the fertilizer we are talking about, but let me go back to the same thing. Now, a nitrogen in our fertilizer is found in the form of amino acid, not in form of nitrate, which need to be converted to nitrate, then incorporated into plant or in plant material to form amino acid. This is already there. The phosphorus is also in its absorbable form, and the potassium is also in its absorbable form. And those are the ones that are required in large quantity, and they are there in our fertilizer. Those that are required in moderate level or quantity, and that is sulfur, calcium, magnesium. Of course, many a times you see, even in what you call granular fertilizer farming, the CAN come much later as a top dressing. And therefore, this one, you'll see it is already in from the initial stage. It is already there in the initial stage. We have magnesium, we have sulfur, we have calcium, and also other micronutrients that are meant for the purpose of improving the quality, ripening time or ripening period, and also color, taste, and even defense against diseases and the pest. And these are things like boron, cobalt, zinc, which is actually for rapid growth, copper is there, iron is there, manganese, molybdenum, just to mention but a few. They are incorporated in this fertilizer. Yes, even some farmers have already gone to other fertilizer like NPK. They are also gone to urea. But remember, this inorganic fertilizer, number one, they are chemically produced from petroleum and mineral product, and therefore they are not actually incompatible. They are not compatible with the environment because they are petroleum product, and therefore they don't have carbon, and therefore they are compound. They are salt in other for that matter. And therefore, whatever remain when you have used, for example, NPK and DAP and the less EN, whatever remain after maybe the plant have managed to use some will not be favorable to the soil environment, and therefore that's why acidity comes in. And therefore, that's why we are encouraging, we are emphasizing, we are requesting farmers to gradually move from the chemical fertilizer, which have many disadvantages, and gradually move to organic fertilizer, which is normally actually produced from recycled plant or animal derived matter that contain carbon, which is now popularly known as the organic matter. Remember, now you can imagine if we have to get everything that is forming an organism and then break it down so that the nutrients that were held, for example, by maize, will go back into the soil. The next maize that we will use, we will have enough. But now, what I mean here is, this is the whole story about the organic fertilizer, we are giving all the nutrients that the plant require for a particular given grow and other benefit. Unlike the synthetic fertilizer, which has so many many challenges like greenhouse or greenhouse gas effect, and also negative impact on human being, such as what we have said, eutrophication, whereby we have a lot of phytoplankton into the seawater, oxygen, actually reducing a lot of algae accumulating within the water bodies, sedimentation coming in, and therefore this water become what you call eutrophied, or the process of eutrophication, and therefore it is not good for fish keeping. It may not be good for drinking, because this eutrophication will destroy the balance of the ecosystem found in this water. And that's why it is very paramount that we keep on looking at this fertilizer, and the farmer move to that. And this is some of the things that we see, like Alzheimer and diabetes, quite linked to and many other issues relating to brain, and also insulin production, blue babies in case of nitrate. All this one blamed because of nitrogen. And this is nitrification that you see. For example, somebody using diammonium phosphate, that is DAP. This is the process that must go through before it is absorbed as a nitrate. If you check this diagram on our left, there is ammonium ion, that is NH4 plus, that is ammonium ion, the one which is in broom, need to be converted to nitrite, where we see NO2, that is nitrite, and then from there going to nitrate, and that is NO3. This is the nitrate now that need to be taken to the plant, then converted again from amino acids. From the simple chemistry, you know what happens when you have nitrate ion within a particular solution, because all these things is happening in soil solution. It's not in the air. What you find is that the nitrite is a gas sometimes, and ammonia could be a gas which may evaporate, but nitrate may also dissolve in water and form nitric acid. What do we know about nitric acid? Of course, if I may look at hydrochloric acid, there is the sulfuric acid. Now I'm talking about nitric acid, which have hydrogen as well as nitrate ion. So nitric acid is the one which dissolves most, and therefore it means some of the nutrients, some of the metallic nutrients that could be found in the soil, when reacting with the nitrate to form a sort of nitrate that will dissolve and go to the lower horizon, making it unavailable for the plant use, and therefore that means the fertilizer go to waste. The process of making this fertilizer ranges from simple process that can be done within the village, as you see here. And some of the people who have had things like earthworms, maybe like biodigester, where they have biogas and the rest, the effluence, whatever we get it at, is quite of good fertilizer. But how many liters can we make using this? It is not possible to have commercial production, or what can help you and also help your neighbor. And that is why we come up with this process of what we call enzymatic hydrolysis. Enzymatic hydrolysis. This is whereby you take the organic matter, either from animal droppings, either feathers, either from maize plant, and subject them into an environment whereby you are going to put an enzyme which will quickly break it down to its simplest form. And from there, you will see that it will be now classified or somehow go through what you call analytical, I mean, what you call quantitative analysis, so that you can know what is in this fertilizer and in what quantity. And the research has been all that so that you can know the amount of feathers, the amount of maize material, the amount of other dropping will give what concentration of the fertilizer. And that is why now we have come up with this fertilizer whereby we have 100 gram of amino acid, 18 of them in one bottle, and you also have 22 grams of other nutrients. That is where I am. A composition of a minimum, meaning it can go more than that. After having gone through the enzymatic hydrolysis, then there is what you call qualitative analysis, so that we may see how much of what nutrient has been found in there. And there is also self-test that has been put in this string. But within this one, if you talk of minimal amino acids is 100 grams per liter, and other micronutrients taking around 22. And this is what we are referring to as self-test report, which normally talk of how much of copper, how much of iron, how much of zinc, how much of boron has been found. And these are scientific results. And if you check that everything, you will see that everything is consistent, or it is inconsistent with the standard required. And when you talk of things like mercury not detected, arsenic not detected, cadmium not detected, lead not detected, because these materials are in the categories of heavy metals, which are toxic. So that means this fertilizer is not toxic. Where the approval is in different countries, and therefore it has cut across board, either in Latin America, also in Africa, and the recent being South Africa as well as Ghana. That is where we have. So there are several people who normally want to know, because their mindset is still so stick to the what we call the granular fertilizer. The granular fertilizer, which they will always talk of the equivalent. The equivalent, and you can see the nitrogen, and this one was reported from Ministry of Agriculture, Zambia. But let me ask you, how much of iron is required to make a whole of human body? If you remove all the iron that is held in hemoglobin, you might be shocked. It is equivalent to 1 nail, which is 4 inches. So if you look at the whole of human being and then assume that is all the iron that is required in the body is equivalent to 1 4-inch nail, then definitely you may wonder. This is the same thing with this fertilizer. You may see the ratio be like 5.15% or 5.19%, but the whole thing is this is not in nitrogen form that need to be converted to any other thing. It is the element that has been composed to form the amino acids, and that is why we are there, several of them. Now, it is very important that we understand, why do the farmers now require this fertilizer which has amino acid? It is also paramount to know why the farmer always complain, my crops are not growing well, my plants are not growing well, the leaves are turning light yellow. What actually forms the chlorophyll, or the green coloring matter? It is something we call the pigment chloroplast, and the chloroplasts are proteinous in nature, meaning that they are made from these amino acids. So different amino acids normally play a special crucial role when it comes to plant. And therefore, us is to give the plant, then the plant will select what to use on what area. And from there, what we see is the result. You see, what that is why the farmers will really want to see the result. And that is what I'll be mentioning in my third session of this. Because whether it is in container, like our Nutri-Plant organic fertilizer, or it is in a bag, or it is in a bottle, whatever it is, when the farmer uses this fertilizer in the farm, then definitely what will make them buy again and again and they keep you and me in the business is the result that comes out. The result cannot come out without the input. And that is why the researcher in this our company have put a lot of input so that they can quantify and able to come up with something the plant will get, and therefore after it will give the result. And among those amino acids that are there and given in quantity is glycine, leucine, methionine, and tyrosine, as you see there. And they have different laws. That means you cannot give plant glycine and keep away or do avoid tyrosine, and they must be in proper ratio. And this is the problem we have with the granular fertilizer. It may not be able to provide all the nutrients, or in terms of amino acids, especially those are nitrogen fertilizer, that in their proper ratio, But this one gives the amino acids and other micronutrients in their proper ratio that the plant require and ready to use. That is why this fertilizer is it work very well. And this is the message that you should be taking to the farmer. And because they are out there now looking for something that the plant can use. And don't forget about now changing people's mind. They know so many of other fertilizers. But if we don't intensify our advocating of this fertilizer, talking about it, then definitely they will go back to the same cycle. Let me go this way, glycerin, if it is not there, phosphorus and potassium may not be absorbed well. And also the plant may not be able to go through a different type of stress that may come, and therefore also photosynthesis will be somehow reduced. And therefore, if the photosynthesis, chlorophyll is not enough, then the rate of growth will be very poor. Again, we have leucine and also isoleucine, which are combined because they look alike. They normally improve the ability of the plant to resist the salt, and also making sure that there is viability of pollen grain. Pollen grain is the male garment, of the plant. And therefore, you remember, for example, the maize, when it is releasing or it is flowering, the distance traveled from the time when the pollination has taken place to the time the fertilization takes place, then there is a distance, and the pollen grain, if it was not viable, it cannot fertilize that. It's just like the animals, whereby you have to look for good male garment during the insemination, what we call AI, artificial insemination. You cannot have poor quality. Likewise, in the maize, if you want the male garment of the maize or any other plant to be strong, so that it can fertilize your plant. Then it has to have isoleucine and leucine in proper proportion. And also it helps to improve the fragrance. So if at all it's not there, that's why you see that the pollen grain will be produced when it is very weak, and it will not be able to fertilize the female garment, and therefore there will be no produce. And therefore, that's why it is very important. And methionine, very important for ethylene hormone, which is a hormone meant for a purpose of ripening, and also help to kill many parasitic pathogens and prevent the root fungus, prevent the root from the fungus infestation, which of course is a troubling thing to the farmers. And therefore, if it is there, then it is nice, or we can say good news to the farmer, because as long as we have reduced parasites and the pathogens, that means saving money, saving money. And this is what will help the plant to help to develop a strong immunity against this. If this methionine is not there, how do you expect the fruit to ripen? That's why you will see an uniform or differential ripening, meaning there are some seed, especially coffee or fruits, that ripen earlier than others. There is differential. Their ripening is not the same because the amount of the methionine that was available was not uniform throughout that period, which is meant for fruit formation. And that's why the tyrosine also help in loop tips and looped tape growth, which is also very important. More of this, we have histidine, which actually regulate the stomata opening. The stomata should open when the sunshine is not so strong, and close up when the sunshine now, or there is a lot of sunshine. This is meant, or it is adaptation for a plant to reduce the water wastage or loss, because it breathes through the stomata. And this process is what you call transpiration. So if it opens in the wrong time, then it means if at all it opens when late, then it will not absorb. If it closes when it is late again, it will lose a lot of water. And again, so histidine, very crucial on that. And this tomato opening is normally controlled by what you call stomatal cells that keep on absorbing water using the osmotic potential. I do hope I'm not using very technical term. Let me simplify it. Osmotic potential, and therefore they actually open, and when time to close, it closes. Alanine also increase chlorophyll formation, and therefore helping to filter light, which is good for that. Regulate stomata opening and also help in plant defense against bacteria. So if it is not there, how do you expect this plant to have chlorophyll? Yes, you may have given the other fertilizer, but how sure are you? And you cannot keep on gambling with the growth period, especially the vegetative stage of plant growth, because it will determine your harvest. So instead of gambling whether it will be available or not, make sure you have used this fertilizer for the farmers. And those who are distributor among us, make sure you have recommended this fertilizer to the farmer. Varine also and the rest. We have minerals. This fertilizer is unique because this is the question that always comes. And how long do I need to wait if I have sprayed my vegetables before I use or before I take to the market? And others says, is it poisonous? Now, how long do I wait until I see positive results? And here it is. This fertilizer, this Nutri-Plant organic fertilizer, is unique in its own feature compared to any other fertilizer, that could be in the market. Number one, it contains essential amino acids, as I've said, 18 of them, of which you have seen some of them, what the plant, why the plant requires them. Also, we have seen it is rich in minerals, zinc, and the rest, which are also good for the purpose of maintaining flower, also making sure that the fruits remain and all that. And again, it is not harmful to animals and it's not harmful to human being. That does not mean that we make porridge with it or give the animals. So if you give it to the animals, it is at your own risk. It was meant for plant. It is your own experimental, but the plant, the fertilizer is meant for plant. It is quick and effective because if you use it, especially when you soak seed for germination, you will always see that the germination, the seed will germinate, faster, and not only germinating faster, they will be stronger, and at the same time, you will see that this growth, the growth rate will be better, and the number of seeds that germinate there will be more than when you have not used it. What of the result? When do you expect to see differences after you have used? It normally takes about 80 days. 80 days, why? Because it is not going to go through many changes before it is the plant to use it. If it is granular fertilizer, wait for about 3 to 4 weeks so that you can see the result. This one is 8 days only or thereabout. And that's why when you come to application, we will see how frequent that you need. So we may talk a lot, but this is what we need to understand. This is not a fertilizer like any other. When you are buying a bottle, you are not only buying a fertilizer, you are buying something that will promote seed germination, you are buying something that will promote root growth of your plant, you are buying something that will improve vascular tissue, that is the pipes taking the solution from down the soil to the leaves, and also from the leaves in the process that we call translocation. So promote rapid growth and also expansion of leaf. That is beneficial because especially now we have short lanes. We need something that will quicken our crops growth so that by the time the lanes subside or go down, we will have actually come to a level where the plant will mature. Expansion of leaves actually means ability to trap enough sunlight and also enhance resistance to pests and diseases, increase yield, and also improve crop quality. Now, the quality improvement, we are talking of what? We are talking of aroma. If it is, for example, pishori, lice, we are talking of color of the fruit. We are talking of the size. We are talking of the taste. Because, for example, if you are talking about fruit, you don't take fruit only because of its size. For a fruit, for you to buy a fruit, 3 things must be considered. 2 of them, we will do it before you buy. The third one is when you eat it, is when you know that whether you go back to buy another one or not. And you are checking, for example, fruit, we are looking at the size. It must be a good size. The next thing that we are looking for is a color, how colorful that fruit is. Even when you're talking about bananas, there's no way you can go into a place where they are selling black bananas simply because when you peel it, inside is good. You want a banana that has original color of the banana. And when you look at it, it is quite big. And at the same time, the taste is good. That is what will make you buy that banana. And that's what we are talking about quality. And quickly, we look at the germination rate. for those who are in the business of seedling, rearing, those who want to, you can imagine our tray on our left. If at all you are selling seedling for a minute from this, you can see how difficult it is. This is a plant. What is the purpose of the root? And why should we have good root or optimum root morphology? For two things. Number one, anchoring the plant, because immediately the plant feel that it is not properly anchored, it will be stressed up because of weed, and again, therefore, is likely to have less production. It is anchoring the plant. And number two is to ensure that the plant, there is enough nutrients, water inclusive, being got by the roots. So you can see, now compare, if you have somebody who have no teeth, mumeenda kula nyama, you have gone somewhere, maybe you went to enjoy maybe a piece of meat and this brought on the tray, but we have two people, one without teeth and the other one with the teeth, and both are eating. Whom do you expect to eat more conveniently and good amount of it? Is that the one without teeth or the one with the teeth? It is the one with the teeth. Likewise, you see the plant which has less rooting system. And these are the things that the plant is using to feed itself. How will it feed? On our left, where we have not used the fertilizer, the roots are few. They are not as strong as the other side. Therefore, this one will not. Even if they are planted in the same soil quality, then definitely the result will not be the same. This is the vascular tissue being improved, and this is tomato. You can see the one we have not used the fertilizer has space inside that we are talking about quality and also improving and rapid growth as we see here. And this is the same field, the same maize seeds planted at the same time, but using or treated differently. The one for the maize corn without application of Nutri-Plant organic fertilizer, but with other fertilizer, there are two things that I want you to check very keenly. On our left, you can easily see that the gentleman where he is studying, the level of the vertical growth, it's up to maybe, this could be around the waist, but the other one is around the shoulder. That's the two things that you need to check. The next thing you need to see is that in the first experiment where we have the maize going up to the hips, you can easily see a gray soil. Why are you able to see the gray soil? It is simple. The sleeve size. Check closely within your gadget. You will see that the leaves on our right hand side where you have used the fertilizer, they are large and therefore they can easily be able to cover the soil. And that means more photosynthesis. And the same thing applying here. Bananas, especially those people come from banana growing areas, you see, helping to reduce the diseases. Quality in terms of size, and also cabbages. There is also something else here, and also beans, as well as pawpaw. And this one, before I move on, I want to answer one of the questions that was asked. What is this fertilizer for? Which plant do we need to use? Or is this, what can this fertilizer be used for? The answer is anything that has green leaves or even stem, green stem, anything that has chlorophyll can use this fertilizer. You're talking of coffee, you're talking of mangoes, we're talking of perennial crop, we are talking of seasonal crop, we are talking of anything in the name of a plant, rice inclusive, beans inclusive, but the application differs because legumes like beans, you don't need to apply as many times as things like sugarcane or maize, or for that matter. This is rice together with potatoes, and this is cucumber. You can see the way this cucumber, no, is gorget. Gorget, which you have not used the fertilizer, the one we have used the fertilizer, you can see the difference. And I remember we had another experiment of bitter gourd, popularly known as Karela, also known as it's known as bitter gourd, the one which is used to make balsam as well as glucoblock. It normally, in normal circumstances, about 300 gram to 350 gram. But when you use this fertilizer, you get 1 kilogram of that bitter gourd. That's how excellent it is. Look at those tomatoes. And also coriander. I mean, this is piripiri hoho. And the skumawiki, you can use it as an umbrella. So you can imagine a farmer if this farmer in a case it rains and he has forgotten an umbrella, the only thing to do is take one leaf of spinach and it will cover him or cover her very well, and even wet remain. So what is here is that it's not about the seeds, it's about what the seedlings and the seed is finding when it is planted in that soil. A sweet potato, which is bigger than the gumboot, that's a funny one. I don't know where it can be sold, but they are also of good quality. The coffee that is producing enough, because one coffee bush is when it is properly grown and properly treated, it should give you about 25 to 30 kilograms of coffee berries, But a farmer somewhere in Muranga told me that they are only able to get 8 kilos, 7 kilos when they have used a lot of chemical, they have used a lot of fertilizer. And my question is, since it's supposed to give you 30 kilograms, where did the 22 go? They have of what the plant need to produce. And this bring me to another point. Plants do not behave like animals. Even if you want to have 2 calves from your cow, it's not from feeding. It is light from the fertilization, but not the same with the plant. The plant will give, even if it have a lot of flowers, it will only give what it can manage to bring up. And this is the why. That's why if you go to a maize plantation, sometimes you may see twins, you may see triplet, other times you may see one big one, others small, because the plant will produce depending on how much nutrient is available. And all these things we see it. So I want to go to the application so that in normal circumstances, this application depend on what crop. And that is why it will be very difficult to give a precise application that cut across. I mentioned like beans, you may not apply as much as maize. You talk of sugarcane, that normally take about 18 months to mature. You may not apply the same way you apply with the maize that take only months to mature. But all the same, it ranges between twice during the growing period to 6 times during growing period. We have the sugarcane going for about six times in a growing period. The same case applying to pineapple, yes, and also that. So this one is what I want to conclude with, because this is what is making the talking to the farmer or going to the farmer a uh, more urgent, because we don't have all the time that we want for us, or the plants do not have all the time that all the time that it may wait for us to take. The plant will always take fertilizer effectively and utilize it effectively between the time germination takes place and when the flowering takes place. And this is vegetative stage. That's what is we call vegetative stage. Then from there, there is offloading, or whatever food material that was held within this plant will be taken to the produce, and for example, maize, corn, and you can see at this level, there is no more, or there is what you call the productive stage. The leaves are changing color because whatever was inside is now offloaded. And this is the experimental part of it. And this is absorption of nitrogen fertilizer in percentage. A first flower, that is before the first flower appear, the absorption of fertilizer within 10 days or 20 days was 40%, was 80%. In 10 days time, after the first flower appear, the ability of the plant to absorb fertilizer will reduce from 80%, the nitrogen itself, to 41. That means 39%. So that means if you see your crops are not growing well, and you become the rate applier of the fertilizer, especially nitrogen fertilizer, you will meet when the plant has already made a decision and it may not make that. And you see, all the way up to the time when it's nearly harvesting, it will always take about 10% of it. And therefore, it's not really good to use fertilizer. So take this fertilizer and move it at this particular time for a purpose of benefiting yourself in terms of sales, as well as benefiting the farmer so that you can afford food security. Ensuring that the nozzle are clean. Don't contaminate this fertilizer with anything else, especially when you talk of herbicides. Please don't use it. If you cannot have a separate pump for it, ensure that you have washed the nozzle very well. Also, apply early before the sun becomes hot, or late in the afternoon when there is less of sunshine exposure, or when there is rain. And also evaporate rains before 2 hours are over, or so. Ensure that you have done it again, especially with the people who are in the lake region where we have convectional rains. As on the mountain region, we have relief rains, which can be easily predetermined, or we can know allowed what hours that our rains come. But if it happens you are in an area whereby the rains can fall anytime, ensure that you spray it again in case it rains before 2 hours are over, 2 hours are over, or 3 hours the following day. Why is it so? Because it takes about 2 to 3 hours for this fertilizer to be absorbed within the plant, and it does not require sticker. It has its own sticker. And therefore, if it rains, it means it has been washed into the soil. And therefore, it cannot be absorbed. Although, even in the soil, it will benefit of what Fred said about improving the soil fertility, improving on microorganisms in the soil, and also improving organic contents of the soil, improving the pH of the soil. Yes, it will do that. But while you applying it, it was for a purpose of benefiting the plant. And again, do not mix it with the other fertilizer. That does not mean you cannot plant with the other fertilizer or manure. It means in the same container, don't mix it with any other fertilizer. And always use clean water. Use clean water. And again, in case you see that there is a disease attacked, meaning that the crop have not developed strong immunity to counterattack or counteract the disease attack. You can use herbicide, you can use fungicide or fungicide, whatever. But this is what we are learning away from. That's why we are enabling our plants to become more resistant to diseases so that we can have good produce in terms of quantity and quality, and at the same time spend as minimal amount in terms of protecting the plant from diseases and pests. So in this case, well, many in the field, because this is what I want to say as my closing remark. When we are sick, we go to the hospital. Human being, go to the hospital. When the plant is in need of anything, it is you to go to where the plant is. And since the farmer cannot leave the crop, where he has growing crops, if you want to do this business in terms of selling and recommending fertilizer, you have to rub shoulders with the farmers. You cannot only be giving technical advice, giving them flyers, sending the flyer together with the fertilizer. Go to the farmers. Have your day to go to the field, meet the farmers. Let them hear, let them ask you questions, let them share their excitement, let them share what they have produced. And in most cases, when you go to the farmer, when I've gone to the farmer, especially those who have grown potato, maize, you'll always come loaded because they will say, this maize is good and you made my harvest to be good. This is the match. So you cannot sell, you cannot recommend this fertilizer. When you are hanging around your town homes or the urban area, you are just sending it to the people and all that. If you need to put on your apron, your gumboot, go to the farmer, then relate with them. So thank you very much, friend. I appreciate and I thank you again for having me. I hope we have shared something that can be of value and importance to our distributors, as well as our farmers, as well as we promote this wonderful product that the Greenwood has invented or have produced.
Thank you very much, Dr. for that elaborate presentation, for reminding us how powerful this product is and how it is something that can change the lives of millions only if we try it. Although we know that our fertilizer is very, very popular and is selling well, we also know that there is huge room for increased uptake, in that we know a lot of people are still not aware, and we would like them to get to know this product, because it is, I believe, the difference between good produce and not, and also the difference between safe, healthy produce and not. So by that, we have come to the end of tonight's training. Mr. Maina is saying, Mr. Fred, we want to know more about, I think, fertilizer, the tea and coffee fertilizer. We'll organize for that in a separate session. But the workings are almost the same. So there will be some little difference, but in general, they're almost the same. So we have come to the end of tonight's training. I want to wish you all a wonderful weekend ahead as we head into the weekend, tomorrow being a Friday. Keep safe. Our brothers and sisters in Tanzania, we are standing with you in whatever you're going through. Hopefully everything will be fine soon, and you'll get back to normal nation building. I'll unmute all of you so that you can say your goodbyes and your good nights as we part.
Okay, goodbye. Asante, friend.
Yes, you are all unmuted. Asante sana, Dr. Mbogo. I can see Mwenda GWDC there.
Yes,
Mr. Fred. Good night.
Good night. I can see.
Good night, Dr. Harry. Good night,
Somo
Good night,
GWDC.
everyone.
Good night, everybody. Good night. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good night.
everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. Kubo.
Mr. Fred.
Good night. Good night. Cosmas, good night.
Good night.
Mrs. Masharia.
Good night.
Doreen.
Good night.
Good night.
Kimeto, good night. Livins, good night. Mwenda, GW.
Dominic.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Juma.
WDC, good night. Also, good night. Semanakul, good night.
And good night.
Miriam, good night. Doreen, good night.